Hello. This is part 2 of Unlearning Yourself. So, when I say unlearning yourself, I don't want you to think that you have to unlearn yourself like it's a bad thing that you are who you are. The point of this is to make what's coming easier for you to go into. I believe personally that as we go into the next year, which will be 2023, today is, what is today, Adri? 27th?
Oh, that's a very good
I
question.
think
I think
it's
so, yeah.
December 27th. Anyway, our days are kind of a blur. We are always working and never time off. But anyway, as we head into the year 2023, I think that we're going to head into more tumultuous times than what we've been through since 2020. And part of why so many people have struggled and will struggle as we continue to move forward in what's happening in the world, and I will continue to speak to that. I can't obviously go all into that in one video. You wouldn't watch that long, first of all. Your attention span would be zilch. But the point of unlearning yourself really means taking apart what has created you, what has led to your beliefs, your actions, your everything that you do, that you think, that you feel, that all has been part of a story. And so we lightly touched on the ego. And the ego is basic in the last video, part 1. The ego, if you had to put it in a nutshell, is kind of like your intellect, your personality, and who you are and how you present in the world operating this equipment we call a body. And so your perceptions about things, the way you feel about things, everybody says they're not prejudiced. That's a lie. We all have prejudices. You can't help but have that because those have been purposely instilled in you for reasons. And the thing is, the reason you want to peel all that away and take a look at who you really are is because if you don't know how to change the path that you're going to move forward on. You can't control everything in your life. I believe personally, everything happens to you to teach you a lesson about you. And I'm hoping as we move forward in this, that's going to make a lot of sense to you, because if you can get your mind wrapped around that, life just gets a lot easier to take. You understand yourself and other people a lot better. You just have a little more control over what goes on in your life. And I don't mean control like in a domineering, psychopathic way. I mean like to get to what you came here to learn in the first place, why you're in a human body, why you exist, why you are experiencing this particular time in history. And that's all in upcoming videos. And I had to laugh because Edri and I had planned on filming this early in the day today, and it's now, gosh, what, almost 5 o'clock?
Yeah, 4:10.
There you go. And I had to run out to a storage unit that my husband and I have, and we're downsizing stuff. And so he wanted me saying, well, what do you want? What do you don't want? That kind of thing. So I go to leave, and I picked up this rock, and I was showing it to Edri. And I am known for doing this, and it looks almost even like it could be bone, like petrified bone. And my thumb fits in it perfectly, and on the other side it's nice and smooth too. And I have done these things, I have done like this since as long as I can remember. And I thought, as I picked it up, and I just felt like drawn to it, and I thought, see, now this is part of my story. And that might sound crazy, but so I thought, well, I'm going to use this as an example for you guys on today's video, because I have done this, like, you can ask my family, it's like forever. I pick up a rock and keep it, but it won't be just any rock. It has to speak to me in some way. So I started doing this as a very small child. My dad was a person who I noticed later on in life, he's always looking at the ground too. It's not that we weren't, like, he watched where he was going just like I do, but I can find 4-leaf clovers really easily, and so could my dad. He was good at that. And I think there's something wired into us for whatever reason, who knows, but we can spot those things. I spot details, usually more than other people do. Edry's nodding her head. She's going, like radar. I tune into things that other people maybe never pick up on. And I can see things that I always assumed as a child everybody can do. So that's part of my story. And I've had to learn that, okay, not everybody is like me because of this, this, and this. Doesn't make me better, doesn't make them worse, nothing like that. But all of that ties into a combination of things. So not just my ego, and I have an intellect and I have a personality. And, like I had told you in the previous video, we have 5 children in my family, which we're all adults now, and we have our own children. Every one of us is reproduced and has offspring. We're different in how we are as adults and how we view the world and operate in the world. And our children are different than their cousins, but yet similar, because we share stories, but we each have our own unique story. And I think that pretty much makes sense to most people, the whole ego part of it. And if it's not, then please send me messages. Put a question or whatever, and I will answer that. In fact, in the last video, someone had commented, my sister and I went through exactly the same thing, but they're different in ages, and her sister doesn't remember any of it the way she does. And I thought, exactly. Different eyes are seeing different stories and interpreting it and recording it differently. And I will tell you, every memory you have is not accurate. We think we're remembering it exactly like it was, and that's not really what happens. It's just that's the emotion that you tie to that memory, so it comes up that way. That's why witnesses are tough, because they all see it differently. Everybody sees it differently. So emotions are a lot of what control you, and we have a world that right now everybody's ego cannot understand. They're having a hard time with stuff, and it's why everything seems like it's just going, I'm going to say it, batshit crazy. So I hear that a lot from people, like, my God, I can't, everything's so crazy. I don't understand. The weather's crazy. This is crazy. People are crazy. People are driving crazy. We were talking about that earlier, weren't we, Edry? Everybody seems to be like right on the edge of, acting in ways that they normally wouldn't act, or perceiving things in ways they wouldn't normally perceive. Now, if you can start to understand how that's part of a story, that I won't go into pointing fingers as to who is actually doing what, because then I sound like a conspiracy theorist, but you have purposely been subjected to stories through what we call propaganda. And you can do, propaganda is used now more than ever in history. So I'm going to give you some real quick examples. If I wanted to change the course of human history, and I had access to information that most humans on the planet don't have access to, so maybe technology and things that I know about many, many decades before the average citizen does, that's really to my advantage economically, and as far as like having things go the way I want. I can decide at what time I want to bring out what kind of technology, how I want to use it, how I want to manipulate it, because I then in turn can manipulate the people that I think are less than me, or humans. And so I personally feel that there are entities, I'm not going to call them humans, that are very, very wealthy on our planet, and they are doing exactly that and have been. And in the next video, I will go into a little more detail on that and give some examples. So I'm hoping that as we move forward, what is shared can be taken the way it will most benefit you. I'm not trying to control your thought waves. I'm not trying to control how you feel about things. I'm just trying to present information in a way that I think will be helpful for you. So if you can remember that your ego is a compilation of all the stories you've been told from since you were born. You're a boy, you're a girl, you're rich, you're poor, you're smart, you're dumb. You'll find that all of those stories have an opposite. So like for everything that is one way, there's an opposite. And the one thing I will tell you is that if you can start to see that you live on a planet that is about nothing but polar opposites, and you can accept that it's supposed to be that way, you're going to be a lot further ahead than you were even, say, a week ago. And this is why, and I was just explaining this to someone today. In fact, I've explained this to lots of people, but I'll explain it this way. You cannot necessarily know light if you don't know dark. You don't know good if you don't know evil. You don't know love if you haven't experienced hate. So these opposites are how you figure out who you are within the story of how all of those things have been presented to you since the time you were born. Some of it even before you were born, like if you had a mother that took chemicals that altered your physical state or altered things about you that mom unknowingly put you in, that's going to change how your story builds, because you might not have the advantages other people have. So your story, you see what I mean, starts differently. But the thing is, we each have a story. And if we can just keep in mind that I am a compilation or a grouping, a gathering of all the things I've experienced, all the things I've felt, all the things I've thought, all the things that I can't even explain, but I know were real to me, those kinds of things. If you can start to see that and then ask, who put that in there? Did I come up with that, or did someone put that in there? So like religion, you weren't born a certain faith. So you might say, yes, I was born Catholic. No, you weren't. You might have been born into a Catholic family, a Jewish family, an Arab family, a Muslim family, whatever. It doesn't, you were born into that. You didn't come out as a baby and say, I'm a Christian, or I'm a Jew, anything like that. Nothing like that. Every baby is a blank slate. All of us have been, every baby born is, at least to this point. When we get to a point of where I think the world's trying to go, that might be a little bit different. But at this point, you still have a say in figuring out who you are and how you got to be who you are, and shaping who you're going to become. That's the goal of these videos. That's all there is to it. I gain nothing by it except knowing that if you're a better person, I'm living on a better planet. And I'm hoping to help you do that. So for right now, we're going to finish this one. And next time, we're going to start talking about how these stories have shaped your life, and you might not have even been aware of it. I thank you for listening. Feel free to share if you feel comfortable doing so. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I would encourage you to do that. It's Accent Floral at, I think, is it Accent Floral in Galleria?
.com, yeah.
Okay. So join us on YouTube. You can watch these whenever you want. Please hit the like button. And hopefully other people will start seeing this and we can help a lot of people. I thank you.